Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight for this very important conversation. I am so excited and grateful to welcome Iggy back to Central. So thank you for being here. We're excited to meet you, hear your story, and learn from your work. Thank you all for being here. As you know, today is Trans Day of Visibility. Today we celebrate and honor people who are trans in our community in New York and around the world. And I just want to make sure you all know too that this Friday at Shabbat, we have a special guest preacher, a young woman who's a trans activist, and she'll be sharing her story. And then Rabbi Buchdahl will be offering a special blessing to our members who identify as trans and to everyone who loves them. So this event is the first of our Trans Day of Visibility programs, and we're very excited to see you again on Friday. But really, thank you for being here. Again, it's an honor to be in conversation with Iggy, and I'm so grateful to Michal, who is our shliach. Is that right? Shlicha? Shlicha, my bad. Sorry. Sorry. That was an opportunity for you to share your pronouns, and I did. But thank you for moderating tonight and for kicking us off in this conversation. And also, thanks to everyone who's joining us on Zoom, too. We have a wonderful Zoom audience here, so thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rabbi Haber. Welcome, everyone. Shalom. Shalom to everyone who's here in the room. Shalom to everyone here on Zoom. I am very, very excited to welcome Iggy and to welcome our speakers for today, for Trans Day of Visibility, but also just for the very special conversation of the intersectionality between queer identity and being Israeli, and between the differences of queer identities and the differences of Israeli identities, and how does that all interact together, and especially in the year and a half that we've had so far and everything that we're seeing currently in the United States. It's such an important conversation, and I'm very, very thankful for the three of you to be here, to be with us, and to share your stories. So sort of to start us off, I believe in letting people introduce themselves. So why don't we go and just introduce yourself in a few words, and then also just share a bit, how did you get to Iggy? And also maybe we'll start with Rom, so you can also tell us a little bit, what is Iggy for people here who might not know?
So hi everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you for having us. So I'll say a bit about myself and a bit about Iggy. Iggy is the Israeli LGBTQ youth and young adults organization. We are currently the largest LGBTQ organization in Israel and community organizer. Iggy is celebrating 23 years today. Not today, but in this year. And we are basically a youth movement for teens and young adults, thinking that every LGBTQ teenager in Israel has the right to have a safe space to grow up securely and proud wherever he or she may have been born, not only in Tel Aviv, in the safe haven, but also if they're born in Afula or in Beersheba or in Bet Shemesh, they deserve to be proud citizens of their city, to feel comfortable, to be able to go into school, to be just a teenager, the stupid teenagers that we all were. So we have safe spaces in more than 52 municipalities, from Kiryat Shmona to Eilat, 110 social groups. We insist of having these scattered around Israel because we want to say we are here and everywhere. Anachnu kan v'bekol makom. This is Iggy's slogan, and every one of these municipalities we went to, we told them, listen, you have LGBTQ teens here. They said, no, we don't. We're like, we know you do, so please take responsibility for them. Some, it succeeded. Some, we just opened a group anyway. But this is kind of the core activity that we were having. And through the last years, we also understood we have to go into the school system. So we started doing workshops in schools, in high schools, with educational staff, teaching how we can create safe spaces for the rest of the day where these teens are obligated to stay. We have a research center collecting data, that we're the only ones collecting data about LGBTQ teens in Israel. And we have also leadership programs, a gap year program before the IDF. We have groups for LGBTQ queer soldiers. And through the last years, we have an alumni network of like growing. These teens have naturally grown. That's what we found out. And they were like, okay, now we want to keep Iggy in our lives, so what can you offer us now? So we've opened local communities around Israel. And our last project is a vocational college for LGBTQ young adults from marginalized communities, mostly Haredi, Orthodox, former Orthodox, and trans community members who at the age of 18, following many years of maybe transphobia, homophobia, challenges in kind of finding their place, they were expected to become independent adults and get a job and rent an apartment, but they weren't able to. And a lot of them reached also the sex work industry, and this is where we understood we had to fill in this void, and we opened the first ever LGBTQ vocational college in the world, which operates, we have 60 students every year learning courses and helping them integrate into the workforce and financially getting on their feet. So we're gonna hear from Jessica today, who is a mentor in Marsha College and one of the first staff members there, and from Oaib, which is running our Alwan, which is colors in Arabic, our one Alwan activity for Arab LGBTQs. We do have also frameworks for Orthodox LGBTQs, for Haredi LGBTQs. This is kind of, all of this is going on under Iggy, and we're gonna today hear from two of these amazing staff members, and I'll give a bit about the other activities, because it's a lot to cover, and I've been advised not to do everything because it's too much to sink in. So I apologize from.
Well,
the
you
beginning.
did say a lot and a lot of very important stuff, but you didn't introduce yourself.
Okay, so. I get that. So I'm 33 years old. I've been co-CEO with Yoni for the last 2 years. I started in Iggy 7 years ago as a volunteer in the Bar Noir. It's a drop-in center known for a shooting that occurred there in 2009 with a team participant, and one of the volunteers killed. I came after. I started 2014, more or less, and I've studied law on the way. I worked for a minute in the Israeli high-tech company, and then I said, you know what? I don't care about financial stability. I'll just go to an NGO and do education. So this is what I'm doing since. I'm a proud Moroccan. All my grandparents are from Morocco. Even my father was born there and came to Israel at the age of 2. So this is the Judaism that I grew up upon, a bit different from the one currently more common in Israel, but I am a full Moroccan with the rage, with the
With all the stereotypes.
Yes, I live in Tel Aviv, and for a day and a half every week I live in Afula. We have a growing community there, trying to create a community outside of Tel Aviv. So this is I live half in Afula, half in Tel Aviv. That's me.
Thank you. I feel like I can ask just 15 different questions just on your last statement, but we want to make sure we know, meet everyone and know everyone. So I will also say, kind of as a preface, each one of our speakers has so much to share. So we will also have time for questions at the end, also questions from our Zoom room. But we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance. So Jessica, why don't you introduce yourself, or Oriab? Yeah.
So my name is Oraib. I'm from Haifa. I am, first of all, something about I'm a mother of 2 teenagers. Excuse my English. My oldest son, he's 15, and my youngest Yoad, she's 12. Thanks God they are not sitting here and laughing about my English accent. So, yes. So why am I here? I am the head of Alwan. It's a movement for Palestinian and Arab queers in Iggy organization. Our activities and programs includes some of our activities is the meeting that we have in the main 3 cities, Haifa, Jerusalem, and Jaffa. We also have our special social and communication skill development workshops, and our unique program of building Palestinian queer leadership in the community. We also have our own events like Iftar Ramadan and Christmas evening, seminars, trips. And we also have our own platform that we publish things there. So I'm a social worker. I am not from the community. I am here because I think I choose to work in Alwan, maybe because of my background. I was born and raised in a small village, in a family of 6 kids. My parents were very busy with work. Life was hard. So I felt that they didn't see me as I want them to see me. That's why I found myself all the time working and seek to help people that are not seen in the society. And that's why for example, I worked in my previous work was with addicted people as a therapist for people who are drug abused. And now I am here in IGI since the 8th of October 23. Okay, so another reason why I'm here, I think because of because of women in my family, it's all began with my grandmother. She was a very strong woman. She was the midwife of the village. She used to sit with men, leader men in El Diwan. It's a circle of men who are sitting and discussing the village issues. And she was the only woman who was allowed to sit there. So I wanted to be like her, and I think I want to leave a mark in my life. Excuse me, my English is... When I was young, I dreamed all the time to escape from my society and culture, because it's also because of my relationship with my father. He was a wonderful father, but he was a very tough Arab guy. We had a hard conversation about how I behave, how I dress. And this also made me want to live and live my life and reach my freedom. But something in my becoming a mother make me want to come back to my society. I studied also sex therapy and family therapy, so I wanted to come back and give from my knowledge and experience to my society. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jessica.
So first of all, I don't think it's a wise idea to give me a microphone, but okay. First of all, happy birthday to all the trans across the world. Happy birthday, happy Trans Visibility Day, although I'm visible every day. My name is Jessica, I'm 30 years old. I know I don't look like. I live in Rehovot. I grew up in Sderot, which a bunch of you knows because the war. I grew up in a very unhealthy environment. My mother, I don't like this word, this term, but my mother worked in the sex industry for 20 years, so I don't know who is my biological father. We are 4, I have another 3 siblings, all from another father. When I was 5, and life was so good, and there was so many food in the fridge, the social workers decided to move me and my brother, my little brother, to a foster family and in Be'er Sheva, and we spent there 3 years. I got I swear to God, it's a bittersweet story, but I have a happy ending. In my foster family, we got a lot of abuse, mentally, physically. It's like they tried to break us down every single day. Eventually, I started to speak to the social workers about my situation, and then they decided to remove me from this family in order to silence me. So they put me in a boarding school, which is very fancy word for the shitty place I've been through. And at the age of 11, I came back home, finally. My mother was very unstable. My mother she was born in South Korea. When she was 1, she was adopted by 2 amazing Dutch people. They are my grandparents. And when she was 16, she came to Israel for the psoriasis, the Dead Sea. She fell in love in the Holy Land. And then when she was 20, she did Aliyah, even though she's not Jewish, but we are calling it Aliyah. And that's how life went. My mother went to rehab, went out of rehab. She dealt with addiction. She dealt with rehab from the prostitution. And puberty went by, and if my life isn't suck enough, I needed to deal with my gender identity. I asked myself a lot of questions that I didn't know the answers. And as all teens do, I went to a party with my best friend. I went to Tel Aviv to a party, and in the middle of the party, I saw a group of, I don't know how to describe there were goddesses, so beautiful, so like divine, and all the club was around them, surrounding them. And I asked my friend, I told him, look, they are so gorgeous, they're so beautiful. And then he told me, yeah, they are transgender. And then I told him what it means, and he told me that they were born boys. I don't like the term men, sorry for, and sorry for the one who identify as one. And that was the moment when the coin fell in my head. That was the moment I felt like I discovered myself. I felt the word. I got a word for my feeling. I found a new identity, which is my main identity. And because Israel is very patriarchal and a transphobic country that don't give even chances to trans women, I found myself surrounded by a group of trans women that work in the sex industry. And after two minutes in my feelings, I found myself working in the sex industry also. I was a nerdy, geeky, excellent student by day, and I work as a prostitute in nights. I supported my family financially, and then I graduated school successfully. This was for my mother, she insists. And in the age of 19, I got engaged to amazing, very beautiful Orthodox guy. I've been married with him for the past 10 years. We got divorced last year. When I got married, I started to ask myself questions. I said, okay, I did my school, I graduated, I moved to alone, now I need to deal with the gender identity. And I started to look for a doctor that can give me the answers for my feelings. Of course, in Israel, you can search yourself for years until you get an answer. And then I found a hospital in Tel Aviv that specifies in this term. I made an appointment 6 months ahead, and I waited for 6 months. I'm sure here in America it takes a lot more. And then we went to the meeting. She told me that everything is okay and everything is fine, but I need a letter from a social worker or a psychiatrist that says that I can handle the effects of the hormones. I wanted to kill her because I waited 6 months, and I told her I'm not living without my hormones. And then she mumbled something I can't remember, and then she said Iggy. And I thought Iggy, it's like Uber Eats. I just opened Google and searched Iggy near my home, like, okay. as she's speaking, I found Iggy in Tel Aviv. I told her, okay, bye, I'll be back in 2 weeks. And then she said, no, you need to make a new appointment. I told her, I'll be back in 2 weeks. And I rushed to Tel Aviv, to the Iggy Center. It was August, so imagine yourself, if I'm sweating now, what was the very horrifying image. I ran through the stairs upstairs and asked for a social worker. They handed me the phone. I spoke with the social worker, Michal, which she's amazing lady that changed my life forever. And we met, and we discussed a lot of my past and why I want to transition and what is the main reasons. And she wrote a letter. And then I told her, okay, so how much I need to pay to you, because, you know, nothing is free. And then she told me, no, this is what Iggy do. We are doing it voluntarily for the community. We want to help the community. And I started to cry and told her, okay, if this is what Iggy do for me, I want to give back to the community. And I started volunteering in Iggy. I volunteered for 6 years, and for the past 3 years, I'm mentor in Marsha College, which is the best place in the world for me. That's it for now.
For now. Thank you so much for sharing, for each one of you really sharing so personal and really sort of giving us a window into you as people and also to the communities that you represent. And I'm hoping that now maybe you can elaborate a bit more about your communities, right? You each represent a subsector within Israeli society, within queer society. If you can share a bit, and I know I'm going to do it as a two-part question. So a bit about Arab queers today, Palestinian queers today, a bit about trans women and trans men today, pre-October 7th, and if you can already sort of bring us in post-October 7th.
Okay, so first of all, in order to understand the Arab queer, how it feels to be an Arab and Palestinian LGBTQ, we have to look at the Arab society. It's a very conservative and patriarchic society. Values like respect, shame, the need of the, wow, I forget. זו אותה מילה. Collective needs are above the individual needs. This make it hard for the LGBTQ members, because women should be women and men should be men. There's another thing about the coming out of the closet is a bit different from the Western society. We all grew up in our village with men and women in their 40. They never got married. Nobody asked them questions. They didn't talk about their life. So it was like everybody live his life. We don't talk about the closet. It's not a concept. It's not a common concept in our society. And this led me to talk about our sexuality and sex life. We don't talk about it. We keep it private. And we also struggle with the idea of going to the therapy. And we don't talk about our problems to strangers. All of these things make it very hard for the queers in the Arab society. And it makes them also vulnerable for sexual abuse. Many of the participants of Al-Wan told me about the sex abuse they went through, and they can talk about that also. So here we have two closets. Double closet, the sexual identity and the sex abuse. So this is the situation in the Arab society. Many of them dream of going to Tel Aviv as the Eden, the Gan Eden place. But in Tel Aviv, they discovered that they are very welcomed as LGBTQ, but are very not as Arab or Palestinian.
I think that some of the examples of what we've seen after October 7 with exactly this dilemma of I'm running away from the society that I grew up in as Arab, and I'm coming to Tel Aviv to be my queer self, but I face racism that has grown increasingly after October 7 also. Every Arab in the public sphere has been has felt this growing racism because there was fear, everyone was in survival mode, so every Arab was a potential terrorist, okay? And if I'm coming to Tel Aviv and I'm also gay and have no contact with my family, feeling this racism was kind of a stab in the back because I felt part of the community, but now we had, you want to tell about the lists that
So were there a list of their name after the 7th of October, published by Jewish Israeli queers as a punishment because the Palestinian members they didn't immediately post anything in the social media about the 7th of October. So that they caused them to go out of the closet and their families didn't know about that. So it was a very scary moment for all of them.
Yeah, it was kind of served as a kind of sword over their head, saying, okay, there's something that we hold against you, because if you're some of the participants in our groups and some of the volunteers were facing threats from other community members saying, if you don't say this and this on October 7th, then we're going to post your name or we're going to out you. And this is really putting a threat to their lives only because the people had taken advantage of the fact that they knew that they were so closeted in front of their families.
And so many of them have to choose between their sexual identity and their family and their Arab identity. So many of them went back to their families because for a lot of them, family will be always family. It's their food, their culture, their family. And many didn't have this choice, and they left Israel.
So yeah, just to understand, some of them felt that it's better to live closeted with your family, the one that just came to Tel Aviv trying to kill you a month earlier. It's better to live there closeted in the village or the small town and just put aside my queer identity and live near the people who some of them also harassed me years ago, than to live in Tel Aviv and have to give up my Arab identity. So it was kind of a deal, Satan's deal, kind of.
Yeah, there were. I have this story of one of the of one participant who was waiting in the bus station. And an Israeli man came to him and told him, you look smart, so you should understand why we kill all the people in Gaza. And he was very scared that he can't say, no, I don't. Like, this moment was, it's something that they deal with all the time. And אולי גם את העניין של מכיוון שהם מהקהילה, כאילו הדברים האלה אולי גם מפחידים אותם יותר מאנשים.
Yeah, they're more afraid of going to the police because they know if something wrong happens and the police gives them back to their family, telling they participated in some kind of LGBTQ event, that would be more dangerous to them than sitting in Israeli jail. They prefer this one over the fear of being outed. Actually, that's like the largest fear. But maybe also you could tell about being a trans.
Well, the situation in the trans community is not happier or better. As we can see, lots of דומה, similarities to the Arab community. In Israel, you need to be it's a very patriarchal society, and if you're a man, you need to be very manly, and if you're a woman, you need to be very feminine. And to be trans, it's like triggering the society, and it's like it feels like when I'm coming out of my house, I'm poking someone's eyes, and it feels horrible to experience that. Imagine to yourself that I'm waking every morning, looking in the mirror, and ask myself, do I look feminine enough? Do I need to put a lipstick in order to like scream that I'm a woman? And I thought it's only in Israel. Then I came here to America, and I got to Victoria's Secret in the Fifth Avenue, and I asked for a tote bag, and the manager told to one of her employees, she told, this man wants a tote bag, can you escort him to the aisle? And I was like, her? And then she was apologizing, and I was like, okay, bye. And when I leave my house, I'm a living target for every kind of abuse. Someone can sexually arrest me in the bus stop. A taxi driver can say whatever he wants about my genitals and about my appearance. And this is the life in Israel as a transgender. It's very, sorry for my French, it's very chara. It's a very shitty situation. And I think that after the October 7th, if the situation wasn't bad enough, in the name of the war, the government started to act against our community. Like you can't complain about laws that going on your head when there is hostages in Gaza and there's people killing every day across the country. So the government started to to put laws under the table and in the background to act against us. It's not a very nice life to live, but it kind of creating a world when I, as a transgender, afraid to walk outside of my house, and I can't go to work, and I can't go to job interviews because they throw in the paper the minute I close the door, and I can hear it. And I worked for the past 8 years in 2 jobs. I worked as a graphic designer, and I started as a boy and graduated as a woman, and the second job is Marshall College. I tried another jobs, but the job interviews was very harsh. If I'm heading if I'm giving the ID, then they say male, and they I don't know, I don't want you. In Israel, they are very forward. They will say in front to your face, we don't want people like you. Manager said, I don't want to deal with the kind of circus that will go around you when you'll be in a public space. And sorry for my mumbling, it's a very emotional thing for me to admit, because as a very strong woman, I came here to America with knowing that I'm a strong woman in my country. I'm an influencer, I'm advocate, I'm feminist, and the moment I felt the misgendering here in America, I felt like no place is safe for me. Not Israel, not America, not the bus station in Rehovot, and not the bus station in Brooklyn. And this situation creates a world when we need to hide ourselves. And when we are hiding ourselves, the first way to make money is the sex industry, which we don't choose to work as a person. Sorry for my terms, but I hate sex workers. If I'm clocking my 9 to 5 every morning, to work as a prostitute, it's very difficult because you know when the society tells you you are not welcome in any place, not the public space. You won't get married. I got married, and I'm 5 from all the transgenders, the women in Israel. It's 5 or 7 that managed to get married. The man that you're dating will always hide you. in my way, in my situation, the family will accept you, but in the situation of like an Arab trans woman, the family will try to kill you, and if they didn't succeed in the first time, they will try again and again and again. You're working in the corners of the street, and the police that needs to protect you are assaulting you, and you just live a life full of fear. And I think that the Israeli society don't understand that we want to work. Really, I want to work. We want to pay taxes. Yes, we want to pay taxes. We want to contribute to the Israeli economy. We want to go out there. No one choosing prostitution as when I was young, I didn't tell my mother, when I grow up, I want to be a prostitute. No, I wanted to be a space engineer. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I had the big dreams, and then you're facing the harsh truth that the Israeli society is giving you, and then all your dreams are tumbling down, and you're starting to think about the next day and not about the next year. I thought when I came to Marsha, the first question that hit me was, what is your dream? And I said, I never been able to dream about something. I know that I live today, I have food for today, tomorrow I don't know what will be. And that is what Marsha is all about. It's a vocational college for LGBTQ plus people that giving us a chance to provide for ourselves, to go and to manage to work and to be among the society and to find things that we like, hair design, nail design, accountant, gym instructor. Like, you can come to Marsha and go out with a diploma and be someone in the society. And I think if I had this chance when I was younger, a lot of suffer would spare for me. And I think that I'm going to sleep at night knowing that I'm changing people's life. And that is what Marsha is all about. And I'm in love in this place, and this is my safe space. And this is I love going to work every day, and I'm coming to work even though I'm not clocking. I just love to be there. It's my safe space. I can be there myself.
So I'll add to both of your important comments that we have an idea of what has been happening in the Israeli society regarding queer individuals after October 7th. What Jessica and Orab has been telling are, of course, they're lying on LGBTQ phobia and the challenges before October 7th. Okay, these are a lot of years where we don't see any improvement in LGBTQ phobia inside schools, inside the work system. 92% of teens are still hearing the curse homo as or trans or whatever as the most common curse more than 5 times a day. 1 of every 3 will be harassed sexually or verbally in their school. They will suffer twice as much violence as any of their peers. So these are long-term effects that you could see what it means when they turn to young adults. Of course, if they're intersectional communities, it's even harsher. But after October 7th, what we were expecting to see, okay, we're beyachad nenatzeach, everyone's together, the Israeli society is in solidarity, but we saw an increase in violence, and we saw a lot of what the public looked at as the queer global community kind of turning its back on Israel sometimes, or having loud voices talking against Israel. We saw the public perception of the queer Israeli community affected by these images. So we would be asked as, or teens with purple hair or using pronouns or from the trans community would be mocked at and asked, are you a pro-Palestinian? Are you even Israeli? Are you Jewish? And these are teens in Ashkelon, okay? They were under rockets just like anyone else. They probably are feeling right now the most Israeli they could feel because they were part of this collective, and looking outside of Israel, they might also feel, okay, this is my only home. But then they were asked to prove they're Israeli. They're asked to prove that they are loyal. Even Iggy, as an organization, was asked to condemn the Hamas attack, which is one of the most funniest things I've ever heard, because we were busy bringing people out of Ashkelon and Ashdod and Sderot and putting them in evacuee centers and dealing with what it meant to run an organization under a war, and still being kind of side-eyed. Okay, are you part of this collective? So the B'yachad Nenatzeach wasn't so cohesive, let's say, and we saw 63% more violence towards LGBTQ teens. 47% went back to the closet because some of them changed locations or went into hotels with evacuees, and then the whole environment has changed, and they were like, you know what, this is not the time for me to bring in this kind of additional challenge. And that is really upsetting numbers, let's say, that we would think they were like caught in the middle of this global situation, and they had to pay the price eventually.
Wow, I don't even know how to break up a lot of this. I do want to mention, I kind of want to maybe thread a bit of the commonalities of each of what you said. It's sort of really the story of intersectionality. And I think in a way of trying to find where we as American Jews kind of relate to it is kind of how we feel a lot from the American left today. And sort of this idea of I belong to this community and now I feel betrayed by it, or I'm asked to be chosen of which sort of allegiance or where do I go? And I will say, especially we see here, the Queers for Palestine community, suddenly us as Jewish queers in the United States also can't always find ourselves. And I think one of the things that you mentioned of just how to connect, when you're asked to choose which identity you're identifying with now, and especially during times of war, it's things that we don't think of. And I think a lot of us are very connected. We hear a lot about Tel Aviv as being a safe haven for the LGBTQ community, but we don't necessarily think of those intersectionalities. I do want to ask my last question, and then I mostly want to open it for the audience, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions. But I do, and Jessica, you kind of started with it. But maybe what in your work that you do today brings you hope, brings you positive? How are you facing these challenges and sort of creating the better world that we want to see?
I think the idea of accepting people as what they are choosing to be. This is my hope. I used to think that all the idea of identities, we as a human being created this thing because we are very afraid. We want to belong to our groups. But all of this idea of identities turn on us, and we are fight each other because of our identities. So in Alwan, we are struggling with this identities also. אולי אני אדבר האמת שגם באלואן מאוד קשה, לא כולם רוצים לבוא לאלואן, כי כאילו יש את הפחד הזה להשתייך לאיגי, שזה גם ארגון ישראלי.
There's a challenge of some of the queer Palestinians to be part of an organization which is an Israeli organization. This is also kind of a barrier of identity that they fear from.
מצד שני, חלק גם לא רוצים או מפחדים להגיד שהם פלסטינים והם רוצים להזדהות כישראלים מתוך פחד.
But on the other hand, there are also participants in our Arab groups that say, I don't identify as Palestinian, I identify as Arab, because even inside the Arab community, there are different approaches toward this. Some are scared to say they are Palestinian and prefer to say I'm Arab Israeli.
וההנד השלישית זה הדרוזים שהולכים לצבא והם בעצם מואשמים כבוגדים כי כאילו זה חובה וכל העניין הזה.
And on top of that, there are also like the Druze community members who are recruiting to the IDF and taking part in the IDF and are being called traitors sometimes from within the Arab community for cooperating with the government or with the IDF.
ומצד רביעי יש את הירושלמים שהם בעצם מפחדים הכי הרבה, כי הם כאילו מפחדים מהרעיון הזה שהם בעצם כאילו מאמצים איזושהי אג'נדה מערבית, כל ה-LGBTQ, הדבר הזה, כאילו הוא לא משקף את החברה הערבית, ולהיות אחד מהקהילה זה אומר שאתה כאילו, אתה הורס את החברה, אתה בעצם מביא משהו שלא אנחנו.
Some of the members from Jerusalem who don't even have actually an Israeli citizenship also fear that even identifying as LGBTQ is some kind of liberal Western idea that would cause them to be outcasted from the Arab society, because the whole idea is kind of so uncommon or in the society that they have already internally or alienate themselves from this whole idea as a community.
אז
But they say hopeful.
כשאומרים חברה ערבית, זה אין חברה ערבית, זה לא דבר אחד, זה מלא דברים, זה יש שם מלא דתות, כאילו מלא דתות, יש גם נוצרים, גם מוסלמים, גם דרוזים, יש אנשים שחיים בכפרים, יש אנשים שחיים רק בערים כמו נצרת, ויש בערים מעורבות, כאילו מעורבות, ככה אומרים. אז יש הכל מהכל, וזה כאילו, זה אי אפשר לרצות את כולם, אז גם בתוך החברה זה משהו שהוא לא קל להתמודד איתו. אם חצינו את הבעיה של ארגון ישראלי, אז כאילו גם בתוך הכניסה הזאת יש עוד מורכבויות.
So even inside the Arab society, as these examples shown, there are more than one identity. You can't say the Arab-Israeli society, it's divided into subcultures and sub-identities who don't agree with them between themselves. But she asked about something hopeful, Rab.
Okay, something hopeful. I think beside my job, actually, לגדל שני ילדים במדינה הזאת זה משהו מטורף בעיניי.
Having to grow up two children in this country is a crazy thing.
אז נכון שהם גם פלסטינים וגם ערבים, אבל אני מנסה לגדל אותם להיות אנשים שאוהבים בני אדם.
I'm trying to raise them to be just people who love people.
אז אני עושה אותו דבר גם באלואן, מנסה שנקבל את כולם ונבין את כולם ונכיל את כולם. והדבר שאנחנו אולי מנסים ככה לאט לאט להבין אותו, זה איך אנחנו נכנסים לבתי ספר. כי בעיניי הבתי ספר, כל מערכת החינוך במדינה היא מזעזעת, וצריך לעשות משהו שם, ולהתחיל מילדים.
So the same thing that I'm doing with my children, I'm trying to do with the people of L1, to teach them to be, besides their identities, just to be people lovers. And I think that the next thing we should be doing is trying to get into the school system and also the Arab school system, because starting with kids is the most important thing that we
אני
can
רוצה
do.
לתת דוגמה מסדנאות שאני עושה בבתי ספר, שחס וחלילה אני לא אומרת את המילה LGBTQ, אני מדברת על סקשואליטי וכל דברים כאלה. והילדים עצמם שואלים אותי, כי הם חשופים בסושיאל מדיה לתכנים האלה. עכשיו הם שואלים, המורה עומד בצד, הוא בהלם מעצמו, והוא מפחד שההורים שלהם ידעו שהם בכלל שואלים את השאלות האלה, וזה כאילו יש פער מאוד עצום בין מה שקורה, כאילו על הדברים שהילדים חשופים אליהם, למה שההורים חושבים שהילדים רואים.
So an example of this is that when I go into schools to talk about sexuality, not even telling the word LGBTQ, the kids ask me about this subject, and the teacher is sitting aside, frightened to his head about what would happen if the parents know that the kids ask the question about. So they are more progressed. They see this on social media, and the older, like the teacher, the institution has not gone into pace with what's going on. Yeah.
עכשיו, משפט אחרון שאני חושבת שפה גם יש אינטרסקשנליטי, כי כאילו נכון, ההורים אולי מפחידים, והילדים, אנחנו לא רוצים להפוך אותם LGBTQ people, ומצד שני גם המדינה שותפה לזה, זה כמו רצח נשים, כאילו, זה לא ענייננו, זה הערבים שהסתדרו, אנחנו לא ניכנס שם. וזה משהו שהם עושים גם ברצח נשים, גם אלימות בחברה הערבית שהיא קורית כל יום.
So the ironic thing is, in some way, the Israeli government is also part of denying these subjects from the Arab school system, just like they do with the criminal and death cases in the Arab society currently, and with women, with gender violence. Sometimes the Israeli government says, you know what, it's an Arab thing. It's not our responsibility, and they leave it for this kind of Arab society to solve it among themselves, which usually does not work. So.
אני רק משפט אחד, דיברתי הרבה, כי אני רוצה לחבר את זה לעניין של הזהויות, כאילו, אפשר להגיד, זה ערבים, זה פלסטינים, מה אכפת לנו, כאילו, אלה רוצחים אחד את השני, וזה מצב, כאילו, אתה חי בתוך החברה הזאת, ואתה חלק מהחברה הזאת, ולהגיד זה להם וזה אנחנו, זה בדיוק מה שדיברתי עליו, כל ה-identities, כאילו, וכל העניין הזה, אנחנו פשוט חיים באותה חברה, ואנחנו בני אדם, וזה לא מגיע אליך היום, זה יגיע אליך מחר. תודה.
This is exactly what I was talking about the identities, that it's like saying the Arabs have their problem, it's a different identity, but no, we live in the same society, and what doesn't reach us now will reach us tomorrow. We can't just put it aside. The polarizing the different identities doesn't help here. It's more complex than that. Thank you.
So before we go to Jessica, I want to pull out the hope of what you said, because I feel like maybe we missed it. Maybe we missed it. But I think you met with schools, right? You're doing work within IGI, within Iluan, of creating these spaces for Arab and Palestinian youths and young adults to come together, to speak, to find a safe space. You are able to go into schools. It's a struggle. We know it's a struggle. But you have shared just the amazing work that you have been doing, which I can say, it brings me hope. So even if you can't...
אולי אני לא דיברתי בתקווה, אבל הכעס הוא מבחינתי הוא תקווה. זה שאני לא אדישה לעניין, כאילו אני מדברת מלהט ומכעס, זה תקווה.
So just, she was saying that her passion and her anger, it's her hope. It's because she doesn't feel hopeless in the situation. And that's, I guess, also what I was reading. So you did it great. But like just the feeling of frustration of the system being broken, but still having not only the power, but the motivation and the will, that is hope. Having the agency, that's a new word I learned today. Having agency, the feeling of agency is what brings us hope. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for what you do. I think it's so important, and I think it's something that we sometimes don't think about. These intersectionalities of identities. So thank you. Now, Jessica.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Yes. What brings you hope in your work? You kind of addressed, you talked a bit about Marsha and your work in Marsha, but in general, what brings you hope? How do you face the challenges in Israeli society today?
I think the Israeli society has a lot to learn from the LGBTQ community about solidarity and about how do I say that? About how shared society needs to look like. Okay, when I volunteered in IGI, we did seminars every 3 months, which was my favorite moments of the year. And as it catch me like out of breath. We sat in Kabbalat Shabbat, queer Kabbalat Shabbat, queer Palestinian Arab, trans woman, gay man, lesbian woman, and we sang Shalom Aleichem together. It's like mind-blowing to even look at this. Like in IGI we have the groups. We have the Arabs, we have the trans, and we have the former Hasidic. And thanks to them, I reconnect with the Judaism. I grew up on stories from my grandmother. My grandmother saw the Holocaust in her eyes. She's not Jewish, so she saw every one of her friends taken on trucks and sent away. And she taught me that Judaism is about love. It's about acceptance. It's about to see each other. It's v'ahavta l'racha kamocha. It's about to see the other people. It's about to care for the other people. And that's the Judaism that I grew up on. And then you open the news and you see the horrible things that's coming out of people that wears yarmulke on their head and in the name of God spread hate and stupid things. And I think that thanks to my volunteering in Iggy and especially in Marsha, you can, as in seminars, you can go to a class and see all the Israeli society sitting in one class, learning and studying things about the community, about everything else. And my first protest was 2 years ago when I was in Marsha, when I במהלך, yeah, sorry, I'm very excited. During my job in Marsha, and I felt that I belong. I felt that all the stories that I've heard about the community is really living proof in front of my eyes. And I think that protest for humanity, for peace, for acceptance, and for the hostages to be released is the same way for me to protest for trans rights and trans kids' rights. I say it with, I cried a lot during this week that I'm here in America about the Trump administration and facing it in real life. But Trump is aiming towards trans women and trans kids specifically. But I want to warn every single other letters of the LGBTQ. He will not stop with the letter T. It's now us, and tomorrow it will be the gays, and after that the lesbian, and he will find a way to hurt us. And the Jews maybe, and the African maybe, he will find a way to try to destroy us. And I won't go silent. I won't be silent, and I won't go silent. I will fight, I will march, I will protest, as my ancestors did, as Marsha P. Johnson did, as Sylvia did, and as in my country, Gila Goldstein and Nancy Schneider did. I will march till my last breath, and I will fight for a better life for me, and first and foremost, for my children. As the house mother, I have a lot of children, I have a lot of girls, I have a lot of students that look up to me and says, Mommy, do we have a better future? I know that we need to be afraid. But I tell them, yes. On Saturday, we go to a march, and then you feel that we are all in this together. And you see there is an organization like Iggy that's fighting for us and advocating for us. But I go to sleep every night afraid. I have a funny story. Ron will want to find it very, very funny, but I had the passport. I'm not traveling much abroad. I had a passport with my previous name. It was written Jessica Joshua in my passport. And because of the Trump administration, I was frightened to come to America with my previous name. So I went to change it. I went to the office and changed the name and changed the passport. Yes, as you can imagine. And I took a selfie and showed Rom, look, I am with my new passport. I think her heart felt 10 years of her life spent, and a bunch of white hairs grew in this moment on her.
Explain why.
Yeah. So she needed to change the ticket, and she needed to change the visa.
It was a week before our flight, more or less.
Yeah, 2
That
weeks.
was the only problem.
It was
the
2
rest
weeks.
was a genius thing, and I support it 100%. Just going through the visa application again was...
Yeah, and we went through the visa all over again, and she was like very frightened, and everyone scared me. Rom is very frustrated, and I was like, I know, I'm sorry. And this is maybe funny. Maybe a funny story, but for me it wasn't funny. I don't know who is in front of me in America. I don't know if he's transphobic, and if he's homophobic, and if he wants to ruin my life because I'm Asian, and if he wants to ruin my life because I'm fat, and if he wants to ruin my life because I'm trans. Imagine to yourself how many identities I need to deal. I'm an Asian, Christian, trans woman in Israel. As if my life story wasn't shitty enough, I need to be in this position. So I would risk God bless I'm here, but I would risk my flight here just not to come to America with my previous name. That's how the Trump administration is frightening me. I work at the corner of the cities, 2 degrees in Tel Aviv. I was a child. I was 16 and 17 years old. I got beaten by trans women. I got beaten by cops. I fought back for my life, and I wasn't afraid like I'm afraid now from the Trump administration. He can easily erase me and erase my friends and erase my existence. Imagine to yourself that I would need to go back to be Joshua and be male again. I love Joshua. He was a great guy. I love him very much. He was even very hot for my opinion. But this chapter in my life closed, and now I'm Jessica. And to be afraid, it's like, let me tell you the last story that I have. My grandmother in Switzerland, when the 7th of October came, she got Alzheimer attack. She's now suffering from Alzheimer, and it blew the moment she saw the 7th of October footages. It reminds her the Holocaust and the thing that she saw. Till now, my grandmother don't remember nothing. She can't speak, she can't talk, and all of that just because of that. Imagine to yourself, we are living in a world when trans, Jews, lesbian, queer, gays are under attack. We can't live like this. But if I give you a hope that I'm waking with every day, my ancestor fought for me to be here. I won't be here if not Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia. I won't be here for a lot of trans mother in the ballrooms sweating their asses off for me to get rights to be standing here. I won't be able to go freely with my freedom and my agenda if my ancestors weren't beaten up, jailed, and fought for their life. And I will I'll do the same thing for my babies, for my children, and I'll go to protest for the hostages to release, as the same as I go to trans right protest, because trans right and hostages right and every other human rights are human rights. And I'm not gonna go easily. As you can see, I still have a lot of power. I won't buy a Victoria's Secret, anymore. But I have still a lot of power inside of me to give, and I hope and I know that tomorrow will be a brightened day.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll give one.
So we're already over, so I just want to acknowledge the fact that we are already over. It's just there was so much to share and so much of this. I do want to give you like the last sentence to sort of close us out, and then Marina will do.
Yeah,
Oh.
You want mine?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
I also just want to note that on Zoom, for our Zoom friends, after this talk, you'll have the opportunity to schmooze with Rabbi Kaplan Mandel. So stick around on Zoom. Even though we don't have time for the Q&A, you'll be able to ask him questions. But yeah, so take it away, Rome.
So maybe just to close up before the questions, I will say that coming here, although it was not easy, and I'm glad we did it. But also, as Arab said, that it's not easy to be also a member of an Arab Palestinian living in Israel from the queer community, coming to speak, identifying as Iggy. It's also you might be subject to a lot of criticism from both societies, let's say, but we want to do this effort, and we think it's very important. We just came from a week of protests in the streets of Jerusalem, and I told one of you when upstairs that it felt like, why are we living Israel in such a dramatic time? It felt like the last week of the Israeli democracy for our point of view, but then we remembered, okay, we're coming to see partners that care for a democratic Israel, that care for a democratic Israel society, and it's important just as much as being on the street of Jerusalem right now, and I think it's a dramatic turning point for the Jewish community at large, and not only from the state of Israel, because what will be of the Israeli state is something that will also affect the lives of all the Jews around the world. And if we decide that it's not a safe space for a lot of Jews sitting in this room, then it's not a safe space for Jews. And it doesn't only matter that Israel will exist after this war, but what kind of Israel are we going to have? And vice versa. I think what will happen here or with anti-Semitism, with the world Jewry, will affect us in Israel. So we're kind of interconnected, and we got to join forces for democratic Israel and Jewish society. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Round of applause for our amazing, amazing speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone who came here. Thank you everyone who are on Zoom. I will take your beautiful closure, Rome, to remind us that the voting for the World Zionist Congress is still open. And if you would like to affect what happens in Israel, you can vote for the World Zionist Congress. Specifically, you can vote for Rabbi Bookdahl, who is on the Reform platform #2. We're very excited for that. And I will say, if you have any questions about it, I'm happy to say how the World Zionist Congress actually affects the realities in Israel, especially and also for the LGBTQ community. So please, thank you so much for sharing, for being candid. You just had so much to share. We didn't have time to questions. I'm sure I'm going to ask you to stay for a few more minutes if there's anyone here who has questions and want to come up. Thank you all very, very much. Have a wonderful night and rest of your week.